Did you know that God's Learning Channel is available on a wide variety of different platforms? For starters, GLC can be watched in parts of Texas, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Colorado by cable or antenna. GLC is also available to watch on our Galaxy 19 direct-to-home satellite equipment throughout North America with no subscription fees. Great for viewers in rural areas with no internet connection. Our free broadcast and program archives are available via 24/7 web streaming on our website at glctv.tv. For our online friends, GLC Radio and audio podcasts are available for free streaming throughout iTunes, TuneIn, or Shoutcast on your computer or mobile device. Likewise, our YouTube channel contains hundreds of free video clips that you can easily share with your friends and family. You can also watch our live broadcast or program archives of your favorite episodes directly on your television with an affordable subscription-free device called Roku, containing thousands of channels to choose from. We urge our viewers to take advantage of these various ways to watch or listen to GLC, and we ask that you spread the word to your friends and family. We can't continue to grow without your help.
Well, welcome to the weekend update.
Yay! We weren't talking about the lineup.
Okay, so what are we going to do first? The lineup?
We're going to open with the lineup like we always do because
Okay.
it's Friday. Hooray. I don't know about you guys, but I'm always thanking God that it's Friday. Friday's coming because it means Shabbat is upon us. Okay, tonight, 8 o'clock, we'll be re-airing a program Pulled from the Vault with Pete and Valerie Bailey. They're missionaries down into Mexico. I've never met them. That will also re-air Sunday morning at 5 a.m. and Monday afternoon at 2 p.m. And then a program with D.L. Foster and Janet Boynes, both of them having come out of homosexuality.
Really?
That will be airing Saturday at 5 a.m., Monday at 1 a.m., and then a split program, first hour with Ezra Ravens of the Jewish National Fund, and the second hour with our friend, Dr. Danny Bengiki. That'll be airing Saturday at 2 p.m., Sunday at 1 a.m., Sunday evening at 8 p.m., and then, such an incredibly interesting program on laser therapy with Dr. Charles Scott. This will be airing Saturday at 1 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m., and as you're getting ready to go back to work, Monday morning at 7 a.m.
We want to make sure you see it.
Yes.
Because it's incredible.
It really is incredible. Well, that's the new program
Yes, it
that
is
we
the
were
new.
able to add this week. Now, next week, we've got a couple of recordings going on, so that'll be helpful.
Yes, it will.
You know, if I had time to actually schedule guests, I might actually have time to interview them. Okay, so, Dad, you have a letter, and then, before you do your letter, we have to show you our newest little office resident. That's Monica's baby. Isn't he sweet? Right there, he's in his new little swing, and she had to stop him from rocking so that she could take this picture, and I was so afraid he was going to wake up when it ceased rocking. He is so cute. Okay, so now you can read your letter, and then we've got a lot to talk about after that.
Well, the letter says, I make a monthly donation, $50 through PayPal, but as I am fasting today for GLC, like Amy asked us to do on Wednesdays, I felt I should follow up my prayers and fastings with action. So I am going to on the website today and make an additional donation. Hallelujah. That came from Pat from somewhere in Texas.
Thank you, Pat. What an encouragement that is. That you guys are actually fasting and praying because we've asked you to fast and pray for us. You know, the crazy thing is as all hell has been coming against GLC because of our unconditional message of supporting Israel and the Jewish people, the true gospel is going out through the airwaves of GLC. And the devil hates it. So all hell is breaking loose against us. But you know what's happening? As all hell is breaking loose against us, the people who understand the importance of the message and they are financial supporters of GLC, all hell is breaking loose against them as well. We're hearing it over and over and over again.
That's right.
So set your face like flint to do God's will. If you understand the importance of the message of GLC, don't let anything stop you from financially supporting us.
Amen.
Because he's only giving that understanding to a remnant
That's
within the
right.
church.
That's right.
And boy, are we ever responsible. Okay, we had a guy come into the bookstore like day before yesterday, I think.
I
Was
think
yesterday or
so.
the day before? To bring his donation, and he does this on a regular basis. He's anonymous. We know what his face looks like, but other than that, we don't know his name. But he came in, and he tells Jerry in the bookstore, he asked Jerry, what's going on? My pastor told us that GLC has sold. So can we clarify for you that GLC has not sold? The devil will stop at nothing to
He will.
stop the message of GLC.
He would like to make sure it's sold to some non-commercial.
He would love to see
Yeah.
this station sold to anyone other than us,
Than us.
because we are dedicated to the message. You know, as Dad puts it, you'll have to pull it out of my dead hands,
That's exactly right.
right?
And I will never forget his threat on the morning of January the 3rd, 1992, when he says, you're through building these stations.
Oh, this was after those 9-inch pliers fell from a tower and hit
Yeah.
you in the head?
And I'm sitting there on the running board of the pickup bleeding to death when
Yes.
he said that.
But God hermetically sealed your head.
He did.
I can still feel the little indention.
Right.
You can still see the little
See the
indention,
little
Dad.
And God
Indention.
said, I will you will live and not die. And instantly the blood stopped. And I was healed, no soreness, no nothing.
You know, it's so important that we rehearse the miracles,
It is.
small or large, that God does for us, and we don't take them for granted, you know?
That's right.
I don't know if you've gotten your copy of Daily Bread. It's Lars Anderson's book that we're carrying in the bookstore now. I picked that up, I think it was maybe Monday. I don't know. But I've been going through his readings every day on that. And how he does it, you're reading part of the Torah, the first 5 books, the prophets, the writings, and the New Testament. Each day, just a little portion of it. But how it's divided, you see things that you never saw before.
That's right.
It's amazing to me. But then the devotional book also has, of course, places for you to write what you're learning, what the Lord is showing you that day. I can tell you I've not written down a thing, but I run into Mom and Dad and I tell them all of the things that the Lord is showing me. I cannot believe it. It's so exciting. So if you haven't got your copy of Daily Bread, call the bookstore and get one. You'd be glad you did.
That's right. Sure will.
Okay, so we're going to do something a little bit special for everybody today.
All right.
What's your devotion?
Oh, it's a Shabbat inspiration. For your servants take pleasure in her stones and love her dust. That's a verse from Psalm 102, verse 14. While the Bible is full of God's promise to redeem the Jewish people, many have asked what the Jewish people have done to deserve his redemption. This verse implies that the redemption will begin through their commitment to the land of Israel and the stones of Jerusalem. Even if the Jewish people demonstrate an insufficient commitment to the laws of religious observance, as long as they love the dust and stones of Israel, it will be considered sufficient by God to allow for redemption. Many of the early 20th century Zionists may not have been religiously observant, but nevertheless, it was their love of the land which paved the way for the beginning of the flowering of redemption.
That is so amazing.
It is.
That came from Jerusalem 365, a new source that we discovered.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so everybody knows that that I live with mom and dad, right? Which means I have access to my mother's library. And I came across this book that has been sitting there waiting for me to have a chance to pick it up, about 4 months ago. And it's called The Jewish Sabbath, or Sabbath, by Pinhas Pelly. So I'm reading along in this book the other day, and I come across this one chapter. Again, I am so excited about what I just read in this chapter that I ran into my mother and read it to her.
That's right.
And we came
And
to
it's
the
awesome.
unanimous decision that we had to share it with.
That's right.
With the viewers.
That's right.
So here is a chapter from that book, and it's called The Author's Signature. The Sabbath stands at the end of the story of creation. As the Creator finished his works, he looked back to review it and saw that all he had made was very good. Not that every detail by itself was actually very good, but the sum total of it was. As is the wish of the artist, he too wanted to sign his name on his work of art, the world, before handing it over to humanity to master and use. Thus, get this, the last two words in the first chapter of Genesis are Yom HaShishi, which means, and it was evening and it was morning, the sixth day. The first two words in the second chapter of Genesis are Vayekulu Hashomayim, the heaven and the earth were finished. When the two chapters are joined together, as is done in the recital of the Sabbath Kiddush, the last two words of chapter 1 and the first two words of chapter 2 yield the four-letter name of God, Yod-He-Vav-He, the acronym representing, as it were, the signature of the author of the world. In this case, however, unlike most artists, God the artist did not step away from his masterpiece after handing it to its new owners. The God of the Bible is not Aristotle's unmoved mover. He is moved and moves along with the work of art he created. Furthermore, the work of creation, it is true, was finished in 6 days. However, the finishing touch did not take place on the 6th day, but on the 7th. Thus we read, the heavens were finished on the 6th day, and all their array, and on the 7th day God finished the work which he had been doing. From this verse, it's not clear when the finishing occurred. Was it on the 6th or the 7th? It seems that the real finishing did not occur until the 7th day, which marks the real completion of creation. The Sabbath stands at the crossroads between two distinct phases of creation, at the junction between nature and history. The heavens and earth were finished, say the rabbis. The work of the righteous and wicked began. Even after finishing the creation of heaven and earth, God's job was not over. He remained very much involved in his creative work of art. Many troubles loomed ahead to upset this world of his. It was still going to make him sad at his heart, and he was going to regret the fact that he'd made it. Yeah, that's true. But in time of joy, rejoice. Now it was time to rejoice and celebrate the newly born world. The Sabbath will thus remain, now and forever, the birthday celebration of the world, the ongoing ceremony of its dedication. At the end of every day of creation it said, and there was evening and there was morning. Only the 7th day is not given natural parameters of evening and morning. Why? Because the Sabbath is a day that belongs to eternity. It is a gift from eternity to our temporal existence. It is, according to the rabbis of the Midrash, the day to which the prophet Zechariah refers when he says that there shall be a continuous day, only that the Lord knows when, of neither day nor night, and there shall be light at eventide. The original Hebrew biblical story of creation concludes with the word la'osot, and God blessed the 7th day and hallowed it, because on it he ceased from all the work which he created la'osot. La'asot is translated created and made, in the King James, or which he had done in the New JPS. Some rabbinic interpretations render the word la'asot in a most simple yet very instructive way: to do, or to be. The verse is thus to be read in the following manner: And God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because on it God ceased all the work which God created for humanity to do, or to continue doing. It was on the Sabbath that the world was dedicated and handed over to man. Creation ex nihilo, out of nothing, was finished. This only God could do. Now human beings must use all the very good materials and energies created by God to make this world, which is still incomplete, waiting for humanity to finish it. A partnership is thus formed between God and humanity. They are joined in a common bond and purpose: to do and to make this world into a world in the center of which stands the Sabbath, which itself has now to be made, shaped, and filled with holiness.
Wow.
Now, as you let that sink in, I want you to realize that the ultimate Sabbath is when Messiah comes and rules and reigns here on earth.
Absolutely.
That's the Sabbath that has yet to be made and formed and filled with holiness. That's why we're supposed to be honoring it. One of the many reasons that we are supposed to be honoring it every single Shabbat when the sun goes down on Friday night, the end of the week.
That is an awesome chapter. And I know the rest of the book is just as awesome.
I have been reading a lot of really awesome things in that book, and I can tell you that book is out of print because I've been searching for it. I have found a few used copies of which I have ordered, if they're not exorbitantly priced, which most of them are pretty expensive. So I am seeing what I can do to maybe get that into the bookstore, and I'll probably be sharing more of that book with
I'll
you
bet you
as
will.
we go along, because it's just, you know what? Shabbat is God's gift to us.
It is. It truly is.
And it's actually our responsibility to Him to keep it and to protect it. And to remember that we too are part of creation. Okay, so this first article is kind of a fun article, and it's going to give everybody something to look forward to. It actually was a news blast from First Fruits of Zion,
Really?
of all things.
Huh.
It could be the Bible movie we've all been waiting for. The setting is the 1st century, and the game is afoot. It's the story we all know, the death and resurrection of our Messiah. But for the first time in cinematic history, the movie Risen, set to be released this February the 19th, may finally do justice to the most epic and influential tale in human history, with a bit of a detective twist as well. Risen picks up where Mel Gibson's disappointing and arguably anti-Semitic The Passion of Christ ended. But instead of a typical focus on the Messiah and his disciples, Yeshua merely skirts the edges of Risen's story. This was quite an intentional move by the film's director, Kevin Reynolds.
The film follows Clavius, a non-believer and powerful officer in the Roman military. Clavius oversees the execution of Yeshua, but after the followers of the Messiah claim he was resurrected, Clavius is charged with spearheading a massive investigation to recover the body of Yeshua with the intent to prove his radical, perhaps revolutionary followers wrong and prevent a potential Jewish riot and revolt. Telling humanity's most well-known story from an unexpected point of view, however, is not all that makes this film unique. Starring veteran actors Joseph Fiennes as Clavius and Cliff Curtis as Yeshua, Risen prioritizes historical accuracy, resulting in perhaps the most realistic representation of the era, Messiah, disciples, and first-century Jews that Hollywood has ever produced.
Similar to Clavius's lack of a religious agenda in the story, Risen does not appear to push any particular theology in its telling of the resurrection, a true phenomenon in the realm of biblically based films such as The Passion of Christ, King of Kings, The Greatest Story Ever Told, and the upcoming The Young Messiah. Director Kevin Reynolds instead prioritizes historical accuracy, even referring to Messiah by his real Jewish name, Yeshua. This simple, authentic naming choice is a step in the right direction for the popular understanding of the real Yeshua. Mickey Liddell, founder of LD Entertainment and producer of the film, said, "I loved Kevin's idea that our audience would be able to experience something ancient and sacred as if it were brand new. Kevin's approach gives you the opportunity to put yourself in the shoes of Clavius, this skeptical Roman soldier who's really confused about all these crazy things that are going on in Judea. He's not searching for Christ's body to further his political or religious agenda. He's just following orders."
Even though Yeshua's role is an elusive one in the film, especially for Clavius, his disciples and followers play a large part as the Roman searches desperately for Yeshua's body. Again, in contrast to many Jesus films, the disciples are surprisingly represented not as clean-shaven, modern Sunday school models of good Christians, but as real, observant Jews. I wanted to create apostles you could relate to as people who had their own quirks, some of them even showing a real sense of humor, Reynolds said in a press release. For me, it was important to make the apostles feel like real people and not remote icons. The relatability of the disciples and other characters also serves to attract a wider audience, not just the religious crowd.
Actor Joseph Fiennes, who plays the role of Clavius, said, "When I read the script, I marveled at the fact that I just digested a biblical story that came across as an extraordinary murder mystery. The script kept me turning the pages without me really knowing how it would end, because when you see it through this fresh set of eyes, Jesus' resurrection really is the mother of all murder mysteries." According to Fiennes, Risen's appeal to both believers and a secular audience is simply due to the story of the resurrection from this perspective being irresistible, no matter your belief.
Risen captures the big picture scale and the implications the resurrection had on the Roman Empire. Not only does Yeshua defy the rules of life and death, but he mobilized thousands of Judeans, and though he did not call for war, the masses of radicals who had had enough of the Roman occupation were a significant threat, especially when they hailed a man as their deliverer from Roman oppression. Telling this story from the Roman perspective does justice to the immediate global impact the resurrection had on the empire.
The perspective through the eyes of Clavius, a skeptic and non-believer himself who prays to Roman gods, provides a relatable experience for those who are unfamiliar with the true resurrection story of Yeshua. It's also a fresh take on the story without a modern theological lens. By all accounts, it seems that Risen could be the Yeshua movie we've been waiting for. Because historical accuracy is the motivation behind this film, it just might have huge implications for the Messianic community as it lends understanding and respect for the Jewish roots of Christianity. Risen is rated PG-13 for biblical violence and some disturbing images. It's set to hit theaters nationwide February the 19th, 2016.
Put it on your calendar.
Put it on your calendar.
Well, the good news today is that the March for Life event continued in spite of the blizzard.
Yay!
But this article from Matt Staver of Liberty Counsel, he says, today pro-life Americans descended on Washington, D.C. on behalf of more than 57 million preborn American babies that have been slaughtered through legal abortion. We can learn a great deal from the March for Life event. What began as a very small citizen-led response on an anniversary of an egregious court ruling that today turned into a massive public outcry to change the culture of our nation, one heart, one mind at a time. Silence is not an option for those marching on behalf of the unborn. And because of their commitment to bring about change, less than 20,000 marchers back in a cold January morning in 1974 had swelled to more than 500,000 and is changing the culture of death that has been suffocating our nation. A powerful lesson can be learned from the March for Life, a lesson that should encourage people to speak up on issues and matters that are important to them. As we enter the 2016 election cycle, our nation is more fractured than ever. For Christian Americans, our faith and our culture are under increasing assault with no end in sight. Just as pro-lifers responded 4 decades ago for the rights of the unborn, so too must Christians respond today to protect and preserve our God-given rights to free speech and freedom of conscience. Silence is not an option. The March for Life that began as a whisper has today become a mighty roar because silence was simply not an option. The same holds true today for Christian voters. Silence is not an option. Christian voters have the power to change the course of our nation, but it starts with you and me. God bless you and God bless America. Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel. And I'd like for you to go to lcaction.cc for more information on Matt's website and maybe get involved with him.
He does good work.
He does excellent work.
You know, I hope everybody was watching Fox News for that long last night, because we had the first pictures of Pastor Saeed Abedini as he landed in, I believe it was South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
He looks good. First thing he did was hug his wife. Then he hugged Franklin Graham. And then they grouped together and prayed, and he was the one leading the prayer. I was like, hallelujah. You know, more than anything, the prayers that went up for that man helped preserve his life.
That's right. That's right.
More than anything. The effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much.
Yes, indeed it does.
And if you don't think you're a righteous man, then that's either because you're believing the lies of the enemy or you're not doing as you know you should.
Mm-hmm.
So change it.
Plain and simple.
You know, talking of prayer, I can't help but remember when Matt Staver came forward to the place we were speaking in Florida and said, would you pray for me? I'm going to go out of the ministry and go into that. And we did.
We did. We had the privilege of praying with him.
Yep.
As he changed the course of his life. So our last article is going to be one that's kind of fun. It's from the USA Today. Morning sky watchers will get a special treat over the next few weeks, as 5 of the solar system's other 8 planets will all be visible at once with the naked eye in the chilly pre-dawn sky, weather permitting. The 5 bright planets that will be lined up in a diagonal line from left to right are Mercury, Venus, Saturn, Mars, and Jupiter. Only distant Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto won't be in on the show. While Neptune and Pluto can only be seen with a telescope, Uranus can occasionally be spotted with a sharp eye in a dark sky.
That'd be
I
something.
wonder how early we have to get up to watch it.
Before the sun comes up. So
I
the
might be able to
sky's
do
dark.
that.
Yeah.
I'll have to
So
look it up on
and-
the internet
and
to see which way I need to be
You
looking.
need look south.
Look south?
It's on the southern horizon. Is what I gathered from the picture that was there. But
Cool.
What an awesome God we have. Part of the creation we celebrate on Shabbat.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
He is pretty awesome. So we just want to thank you for standing with us. We want to thank you for your continued support, and we want to encourage you to start talking to people. I talked to a gal up in Lubbock today who had her cable disconnected months ago. Then she was watching off air. She didn't know why her off air signal went away, and she has just found out that she can watch us on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So tell everybody you can watch us on the internet until we get everything up and running. Love ya. We'll see you Monday.